In the recent Batman, issue 12, a new element was introduced to the origin of Batman. Tom King, the current writer, introduced the idea that while young Bruce was in mourning, he attempted suicide. After her alleged murder of 237 people, Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, gets transferred to Arkham Asylum. During this time, Bruce Wayne writes to her. In the letter, he discusses their shared traumas, ultimately confiding that he only resolved to dedicate his life to fighting crime after attempting suicide as a child. He describes how he got one of his father's razor blades and got down on his knees. He puts the metal on his wrists, the edge scratching cold. In this moment he prays. He prays and he prays, but of course he gets no answer. And in that moment, he understands. He realises that his life is no longer his. Instead, it belongs to Gotham. He doesn't need to have a normal life, considering he was willing to surrender it. Instead, he makes his vow. I swear, by the spirits of my parents, to avenge their deaths by spending the rest of my life warring on criminals. In an interview, Tom King said, "That's the moment when he says, I'm not going to live my life in just pain. That part of me is dead, and I'm going to live my life for a cause, and that cause is to fight crime and save people like my parents couldn't be saved." The name of the current story arc is I Am Suicide. This new revelation brings a whole new meaning to that title. Meaning that after his initial attempt, he did not die, however, his life was still taken. His life was taken by the idea of Batman. Being Batman is suicide for him. This is all pretty heavy. However, the loss of Bruce's parents is some pretty heavy material. In reality, it's not hard to imagine something like this occurring. I don't think saying that I like this edition is a good way to put it, because obviously, suicide is very upsetting. However, I really appreciate it as part of Batman's story. It makes sense. As King himself put it, to me, it just seems to be more realistic, that if a kid's in that position where he would sacrifice everything, that he would consider sacrificing everything in a physical way. I think King has outdone himself with this issue. He has handled the topic brilliantly and very respectfully as well. I think it's also good to see this as an inspiration for people who are dealing with tough times. Obviously, Batman is fictional, but he should be seen as an inspiration. Even though you may feel awful, vulnerable and helpless currently, things can and will get better. You can achieve something great. Perhaps you won't be the world's greatest detective or the scourge of crime in Gotham City, but there's always something worth striving for. Now, if anyone is truly against it, you can just imagine that this didn't happen. After all, it didn't happen. This is all just fiction. And on top of that, it is fiction that is constantly getting retconned and rewritten. But come on, don't be a dick. Also, I need to quickly mention how awesome the art is in this issue. Michael Janin is killing it. It's pretty much a bunch of splash pages, and they are all epic.